everyone, welcome to my channel, or welcome back. This has been really a long while since I've done some actual art content. So today I wanted to share my new setup. It still has kids' toys because we have toys everywhere in our house, it feels like, because I like toys, my kids like toys, and so we go a little crazy. Yeah, quite a few toys. But I've got like all my art books and some of the books that I want to read soon up here. So like, when I walk into my living room, it's becoming more of a happy space rather than toys everywhere. We have moved some of the toys downstairs into our basement, and we are trying to get our kids to play more down there. It's not working yet, but I guess they just like being with us, which, can you blame them? We're pretty awesome. But yeah, it's been a while. So I have been taking an 8-week course with Beatrice Blue, and it has just been wild. It has, like, this last year, just kind of where I have grown with my art is so different. I am really just sucking up all these different places of art inspiration that I never thought I would. It's been kind of freeing in a way, but also just a journey. And you know, when I was younger and I was actually going to art school and actually like considering it, like back in 2006 when I first went to college, I wanted to be a Disney animator. I wanted to do 2D, and that was all that I was focused on. So in 2009, when they closed their 2D studio, I kind of was like, well, what do I do with the rest of my life? And I'm really glad that I went on to get my English degree, but it kind of changed my focus. And now it's been picking up the pieces of what art should look like for me. And it's been years of figuring that out and like kind of rediscovering myself. And when I came back to it, it has been so different. And my eyes have just been opened up. Like, I hate that, you know, like I hate that phrase. Oh, my eyes are open. I see things that I didn't see before. But it's like, there was this whole world of art that was beyond Disney. And like, don't get me wrong, Disney's great. Like, I love Disney. I think I even have like the Art of Frozen right here, you know, next to my lovely Loish art books. But I have the art of like Frozen because I do love Disney and where it's gone. But I also love like discovering who I am through art, like healing through art, play through art. And so I kind of want to, with this video, go through some of my sketchbooks and kind of show you where I have kind of expanded. And it did start with this book right here, Sketch Every Day by Simone Grunewald. I'm still part of her Patreon that I learned about in this book. So it's so awesome that she is still active. This was, when did this book come out? I don't know. I found it randomly, I think at Target. It came out in 2020, and I think her Discord and her Patreon was just like kind of new, but she is still drawing every day. She is still active every day in her Discord. It is such a wonderful community. And like back in 2021? 2021 is when I started. October of 2021, I did Inktober, and then I found this and I joined her Discord. So this is when, so like this has been kind of a growth from then. And the thing is that I'm still growing. I still am learning. I'm still doing things and taking courses because I haven't stopped. But this was the catalyst. Like, I will say that pretty much probably in every single like thing I do. So like she talks about sketching every day, and so I took that to heart. And so now I have all these different, and I like at that point I was just using one sketchbook. And in these last few months, I have kind of Let's set that down. I have kind of switched to, actually set that down like this so you can see it. Yeah, so I've kind of switched to doing multiple sketchbooks at a time, because that's kind of something I've seen with like Sandy Hester here on YouTube. I'll share the link down below to her channel, because I have just mind-boggling how different people work, and like, so I'm learning, and like my style is very different from Sandy's, but like taking things from other artists is real fun and real important. So I'm gonna stop talking here. I'll be back in a second with my sketchbooks so you can kind of see how in the last couple months my art has evolved, and like how I'm willing to try things even more so. Like if you go back to my first video here in my sketchbook tour, most of it was just pencil sketches and a few things here and there of like different mediums, mostly markers and colored pencils, but like I'm trying stuff, like, and I've spent quite a bit of money on products, and you don't have to, but it's just like, it's been so much fun trying to figure out what I like. And so yeah, that is where I'm at, and I look forward to sharing. So here we go. Okay, so these are all my sketchbooks that I've been working on since January. My big one that I've been working on the most is this one right here, which is this one I've deemed like my project sketchbook. I wanted this for my picture book, and so most of the stuff in here is picture book developments, like explorations, and I'll get to that. This one is a Talons art creation sketchbook. These ones are kind of comparable to Moleskine. The paper is a little thinner. It's a little bit more, what do you call it? It's a little bit more yellow, but it is, they're super affordable. They're like $12 for like 80 pages, and I can never fill one in a month, but Moleskine I can fill in a month. And so I have another one of those. I started that because this one was getting to the point where I was just getting overwhelmed with my sketchbook, and I needed to get something that was going to give me some just free play. So this one has some stuff in it that is just sketching randomly. And then this one is my newest one. This one is just, I'm trying to explore watercolor and gouache, so I'll share that. And then this one is only landscape studies, and I was trying to do it daily, but as you can see later, you'll see why this is my little etcher, but I haven't done it every single day, which is okay. I'm giving myself grace on that. And then this is a Mossery mixed media sketchbook with the Poopy Cat cover. I love Poopy Cat. I'm sure you've heard me talk about her on this channel, and if you haven't, she is one of my biggest supporters, biggest mentors. I just love her work, and so any chance I can support her work, I buy it, and she's just a huge inspiration for me and just a wonderful human being. If you ever get a chance to just chat with her online, please do. I'm part of her Patreon. I've taken a course with her. I chat with her on Zoom when I get a chance, like in her Patreon stuff. So yeah, and then this one is an Illo sketchbook, but it's the watercolor sketchbook. So this one has that square. It's a little bit bigger, which is kind of nice. The paper is a lot bigger than this one. So there is that. And so now I want to share kind of what I meant earlier when I talked about how my sketchbooks used to be. So these are how I used to fill my sketchbook pages. And it's really, this was great. Like for where I was at, doing just sketching every day. I did this sketching every day, and I was doing a lot of, like, I took this one in, you'll see it at the beginning of all my videos. I took this one in and I colored it digitally. So a lot of this was exploring my style, exploring what I liked, exploring different things. And I go back to these quite often when I'm feeling like I need some inspiration, because there's a little bit of colored pencil, but there's not much in here besides just pencil sketch. I think there's a marker. Yeah, here's the marker page. This was all Copic markers, colored pencils, but still, again, it's not really getting out of my zone. This was silhouette character design that I've learned how to do. I do like how that looks on pages. But so this is how I used to do sketchbooks. So if you can see, this is very, very just mostly pencil. So that is a sketchbook from, when did I start this one? This one was June of last year. So almost a year ago is when I was doing this one, June to August of last year. And so at the end of August, that's where I was. I was just still doing lots of exploration, lots of little things. And I love doodling. I love, love, love doodling. And I will continue to doodle. That's for sure. But that is that one. Okay, so then we'll get into what I've changed. So that's how I've done it. But now that I've changed, so here is, I want to share this one first, because this is when I first really started exploring. And so I started with the intentions. I had goals and focuses for this. This is the only sketchbook that I will ever have goals and focuses for a sketchbook, because it really, really put me too much constraint on my sketchbook. So I started going strong, but like I'm using watercolor so much, and I'm this page I love. This page was me exploring cottagecore, exploring folk art for the first time. And I even have a collage, like I printed out all these pictures. This was kind of the aesthetic that I was first going for with my book. It has changed a little bit, but there's little pieces like the frog will still be there, and things like, I'm just exploring. This was with colored pencil. This was when I first got my luminous colored pencils. I was playing with them. A lot of watercolor, figuring out different watercolors. I really love how this turned out. This was Green Apatite, Daniel Smith, the first layer, and then Beam Paint Salish Sea over it. And I love how that turned out. And just a lot of exploring. This page is marker, Copic marker, and Ohuhu markers with colored pencil. And then because the marker bleeds, I actually taped in a watercolor sheet and repurposed that. So this is where I started experimenting. And you can see there's still a lot of my sketches, but there's a lot more experimenting. I want to get back. This is ink right here. This was me taking some of my colors and swatching them. I'm just getting a lot more playful, and I have pages of like pen and ink. I love this, love this, love this. Like still want to kind of turn that into a coloring page. Another set of them. I just like exploring a lot of different things. And so like, but I'm trying to keep it focused on the book. And I think that's where I got really hung up with this sketchbook, because I was keeping like the same character styles, like different designs, but the same world, where I couldn't just be like, oh, today I want to focus on this, and today I want to focus on this. And there's some of that, like this was gouache, like, and so I'm really, really, really proud of this sketchbook, even though like colored pencil here, even though there's, you know, I did get burnt out with it, so I didn't finish it. I still have, let's see, I guess I got really close though. I still have just this much like left. But like even here, I'm figuring out markers, playing with like different things. And you can see like even like some Posca pens. So yeah, this is where I have gone, like Mario for my son. Just how I figured things out, like different mediums. Pencil, I actually got some Blackwing pencils, and so I actually wrote what I liked about each Blackwing pencil. I was trying to figure out if I wanted to order a whole box. So yeah, this is where I'm going with my sketchbooks. And so then I took this one, and this one is my Studies in Watercolor and Gouache 2023. I did this. I am not happy with this. I'm gonna play with it a little bit more. But this is back, I did start in December, 12/28. Ooh. But I was gonna do it every day. And so I did it 12/29, then 12/31. And then like, I was so unhappy with this page, but it's so nice to see where I started to where I'm going. Like this was just this week. So like, there's 4 months in between that, and I've been practicing in other places. I've been watching like taking classes and things, like I am improving, and that makes me so happy. And so you can see that improvement. Like I just love how this one turned out. This one I was actually pretty happy with, and I'm still happy with it, but I am just so proud of where I'm going with watercolor. And so there's that one. And then this one I did also started in 2023. And it says, like, I like to do this. This is usually my first page in all my sketchbooks now. I started this back in 2022, March 2022? I think so. So now I'm doing this, and this is this. And so like, I am like, paper matters. And I've discovered that with paper this is colored pencil and watercolor. The paper, this is hot press watercolor paper, mixed media. And I am okay with destroying these. Like, I just am like, oh, here, I love how this turned out. Love, this was something I was gonna submit into this. I never finished this one, but I might return to it. This I'm so unhappy with that this was for Poopy Cats, Draw This in Your Style. And yeah, I still look at it and think, oh my gosh, what is this? This creeps me out. I don't know. I'm not happy with it, but that's okay because like I'm growing. And then I took this in to Procreate and redid it in Procreate and was really happy with how that turned out. And then just playing with my colors and just playing with different styles of characters and shapes. Like I'm really trying to focus on shape language and style. Like this is a lot of folk inspiration. This was using Tombow markers and getting really into it. This was that, I don't want to share that one, but like I was following along with some folk art drawing. I'm figuring out layering of like different layering of watercolor, trying to like figure out what watercolors. I just got some new Schminke art watercolors, so I'm figuring out what I want in my palette. This is a Daniel Smith right here, and this is the Schminke. They're like the same color, only they're named different in the brands. So that's what I've got in that one. And so that was another one where I am growing and what I've been doing. This one, what I want to share. This is all my swatches. I like to have them because I'm figuring out what watercolor I like. So I have tons of these things. Like this was, I don't remember what this was, but I kept it. And these are my Holbein gouaches that I have. I have been, instead of using the actual gouaches, I've been using just white gouache with my watercolors. So getting a different thing. I don't know when I started this one. I really honestly don't. I think I got this back in December. So I've been playing with this since December, but you can see, yeah, December 15th, I labeled this one. So this is like where I've been going with watercolor. Oh my gosh. See, look, you can have just absolutely ugly pages. This was gouache. This was when I was like, I'm not sure I want anything. This is just figuring out if I can make washes. Like, I'm figuring out how colors mix. These ones were really fun that I did. I just wanted to paint. And so I went and followed some tutorials-esque and kind of played with them too, and got these. I inked them and then I colored them because I just wanted to paint. Nothing matters in these because I just want to paint. This was cheap gouache from Hobby Lobby that I was like, I'll try the cheap stuff to practice, and like no, like look at this. Like they were like both the same 12, and I already had this. So I don't know why I went and bought, I already had the good stuff. I don't know why I went and bought this. I was having a moment, and so that is gone. I let my kids play with it. But see, this is still me figuring out illustration, bringing in some of those doodles with some of those new things that I'm learning, and same thing. But then it's like I'm experimenting right here, like really experimenting. This was me playing with values and composition, and I'm trying to do spreads for children's books. And then I actually got some Schminke watercolors, and I'm figuring that stuff out too. So I'm I'm playing in this one. This one has evolved. If you like, it's just kind of crazy because like how much I've evolved since just like these, and finding my own voice and finding what I like. I'm just feeling more confident, and I feel like you can see that from like here where I never finished this to here. I'm getting far more confident with watercolor. And then I have this one, and it's kind of fun because even in my doodly sketchbook, because I'm bringing this back because I started this in March, I needed to just sketch, but then I'm using pen already, and I'm using marker, and I'm getting myself like experimenting, and I think it is so important. Like I took a Kate Sutton's Domestica course, like with her Tombow markers and being grateful for things, like coloring in random things and like all this. And it's my shape, like I bring it back. Like I kind of want to pull out my old shapes. Let me pull out one of my old shapes here. Let's see. And there's things I like about both, but like I'm experimenting with more shapes. I'm experimenting with more color, whereas this I was kind of not. And yeah. So I just feel like even my shape designs are more confident than they used to be. And there's some good things. I still really like this guy. He needs to have an illustration. This one too. This one is still so fun. So see, I still love these. I still love them. Still love it. This is like, yeah, I think that's going to be one of my favorite sketchbooks forever. But I'm just playing more shapes. I was drawing from books. I'm trying to draw more things from books, more like, I love red pandas, so those come up often. Playing with red pandas. Yeah, and then these were like marker swatches. I'm starting to do more swatches and just having fun and letting this be just not perfect. So you can see that. Like this was me watching, when I was watching my kids and I was just doing quick gestures. So like now I have this as a reference of how kids sit and they move so much. So like I'm okay with having that when I never would have been okay with that before. Like having this spread. I never would have been okay with this. Like I'd want this all to be pencil, and I'm just having so much fun letting it be what it is. It's a sketchbook. It's exploring and having a good time and figuring stuff out and not being perfect. Here's some pages of just sketching because sometimes I just want to do that, but then it goes back to this and then color pencil and one thing on a page, and this was drawing at a zoo. So you can really just have fun in your sketchbooks, and I'm learning that's okay. And then this is another thing of exploring. Yvonne Duke came to our class one day, and this is what he does. He uses a little thing to just explore. So I'm exploring watercolor and gouache in different styles. And I don't have much in here yet, but I'm still exploring and figuring out like how to use watercolor, how to use mixed media, how to do all these things. So like I have how many? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 sketchbooks going, and like now I know, like, so my first goal, I'll get back to you here in a second and I'll explain some of this stuff. Okay, so now that I've kind of shown you where my sketchbooks are going, this is like what I want to say. My very first goal of sketchbooks. Like when I was younger, I had to overcome this. Like this is the big thing that I've overcome in the last couple of years, because when I was younger, I would sit and draw and draw and draw and erase and draw and erase and draw and erase and draw and erase and like focus on making one perfect picture rather than sketching. So I don't think I ever really filled a sketchbook. I never filled a sketchbook. I can promise you that. Like I have sketchbooks that will have like 7, 8 pages in them, and then they're abandoned so I don't have a huge body of work from when I was younger. And it's so funny to me that like from when I was younger, when I was actually like like wanted to work for Disney, and I'm like, I wanted to animate. Like I wanted to actually draw the animations. And so I'm like thinking back, I'm like, you know, you had like, I remember one of the reasons I stopped animation was because there's 30 frames per second. That's 30 drawings, and you're like drawing the same thing over and over and over again. I hated it. And you know what I learned? Drawing things over and 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 over again are so important. So like back in October 2021, I decided my first goal was to fill one sketchbook, like fill the whole thing. And I did. And so now I have, I think, okay, so last 2022, I filled 5 whole sketchbooks. 5. And they're like, some of them are the Royal Talons, some are the Moleskines, because I like to jump back and forth between sketchbooks, because I'm still even now figuring out which sketchbooks I like, which is why I have so many, because I'm like, oh, let me try this. And I'm finding that I like things for different reasons. And so I have like, it's okay to, and I'm like learning that it's okay to switch between sketchbooks, because now I'm so focused on completing a sketchbook that I like will complete it even if I don't want to like complete it anymore. And so I think my first goal was to draw every day, sketch every day. And so like, this is where I have progressed, but like, it doesn't have to be big. It doesn't have to be big at all. Like, I think I remember somebody was like 5 minutes a day, just sketch 5 minutes a day. It doesn't have to be good. You just like, and you find like you want to do it more and more and more. And I've incorporated my kids into it. And like, I should show sometime how far my 5-year-old has come, because I have a 5-year-old that draws with me like all the time, and he loves the good stuff. And we go art shopping for his art supplies, and he loves it. And he uses it, like he has his own collection of Tombow markers, and sometimes he lets me use them because they're very special to him. But it's so cool to see how much he's grown. And I'm like, yeah, bud, if you keep going, when you're my age, you're gonna just like explode, because if this is what you want to do. I don't force him, by the way. I do not force my kids, because my other son, he is like, I don't want to do art. I want to play video games. And like, he'll do sticker art. So like, we have a really, we have conversations in our house about how like putting stickers in a sketchbook is okay. Like that's still art. And so like, we do collage art and do different things. And so my kids have also inspired me to play. And it really comes down to that. And I've learned that so much through other people, that play in art is fun. And so then when you finally get to your final pieces, you feel so much more accomplished about them because of this process. So this is what I have been doing the last few months. And I kind of want to share, like, I want to do more of these videos and go through this a little bit more, and maybe like dive deeper into one thing, like one process of how I'm experimenting for the week. It's just a matter of actually getting the chance to film. So that's what I have for you today. Let me know if any of this inspired you, what you took away from this and what you've taken away from my journey. If you like more of this content, please let me know that you want more of this content. Hit the like button. I'm gonna keep updating, and go ahead and subscribe, because I like to talk about art, and I talk about books. Art and books go like stories. That's what art is. Art is telling a story. And I just love, like if you look back here, I just love how they all come together. And I think it's a great and beautiful process. So thanks for stopping by. Have a great day. Bye.